All right, welcome back to 680 The Fans coverage of Atlanta Braves spring training. Ben Ingram, Kevin McAlpin here on the field at Champion Stadium in the ESPN Wide World of Sports. And Kevin, we're through another day of Brave spring training. Games will be starting up this weekend, starting up Saturday and Sunday. I've got a little bit of a road trip coming up this weekend, so we're excited about that. Grapefruit League games getting underway. We won't see all the starters for the regular season going down. Get an opportunity to see some of these young guys, but lots of conversation this time of year, regardless of team, about the same kind of topics. And I think one topic that lots of folks have asked us about, and that we've had lots of speculation about, is what this opening day lineup may look like. And maybe sometimes we put too much into it, but at the end of the day, we're baseball nerds and geeks, and we like doing things like that. So the way that we envision this thing is pretty interesting, because Ronald Acuna was asked the question the other day, where are you comfortable in the order? And he seems to be pretty comfortable in the leadoff spot the way that he was last year.
He does, but he also understands he's 21 years old and that decision is not up to him. So obviously Acuna was so effective at the top of the order and did such a really nice job. Not your typical leadoff guy, but you know what? Nick Markakis wasn't your typical cleanup guy either, and both those guys are coming off just tremendous years in 2018. But it's been a hot button conversation here. You know, we haven't had the position player battles we've had the last couple of years. Really, the battles this year are in the rotation and in the bullpen. But the big question, what is the opening day lineup going to look like? And I do think right now, it sounds like Brian Snitker is toying with Ender Inciarte as the leadoff guy, moving Ronald Acuna down to cleanup. We know Donaldson's comfortable hitting second. We know Freddie Freeman's not going anywhere hitting third. Markakis, who was hitting fourth, probably fifth or sixth. So again, I think right now, if you had to, really make an educated guess, probably Ender Inciarte starts the season off in the leadoff spot. But again, so important for him to put together a full 6 months. Slow starts have really hurt him in years past, and you'd love to see him get out of the gate quickly this year.
Well, you would. You need second half Ender for an entire season. And I think you could say that about a lot of these guys. You need the Nick Markakis that we saw in the first 4 months to be that guy throughout an entire season. You'd say the same thing for Ozzie Albies, etc. So those are obviously topics of conversation right now. It is funny to me how we focus so much on the opening day lineup, because nobody really cares about what the lineup being for July 31st.
Right.
But we focus on it being that for that one day, but it's going to change a ton over the season. But you want an idea of where these guys may be in the lineup day in, day out. The Ender thing is interesting, and I could see the Braves toying with Ender hitting leadoff and Acuna hitting leadoff here at spring training. And maybe we get the answers, by and large, by the end of spring training as to who's going to hit where. But I think for Ender, if he does get that opportunity to hit leadoff, I don't feel like that leash for him is a very long one. If he starts to show those struggles that he's shown in years past, where he's slow out of the gate, I don't think the Braves can sit there and afford to just go with him and let it roll for an extended period of time. I think you know exactly who hits at the top of the order should Ender fail, and you flip the switch and go right back to Acuna, don't you?
Yeah, I do, and I agree with you. I think that leash would be shorter than it was last season. It's something I actually posted on my blog on 680thefan.com, is that I do think that leash would be shorter. You know what you have in Acuna. He did a tremendous job last year. But again, if you're talking about a guy who can get on base, who can use his legs, Ender was so aggressive on the bases last season. I like what we saw from him. He got on base and he was immediately thinking second. He hit a double, he was thinking about getting a third. So I do think right now, if I had to make my guess, I think Ender is your leadoff guy on opening day. But he even understands that, look, if he doesn't get the job done, someone else is going to have to go in that spot. It's what happened last year. He said as much yesterday. He understands that lineups are going to change throughout the course of the year. Again, his big goal this year is being more consistent, start to finish for all 162.
And I think we're fine with Acuna either or, where they want to put him. I think we think he's going to thrive. Let's shift gears and talk about pitching while we have another minute or two, and let's put the crosshairs on Sean Newcomb. You know that Mike Foltynewicz, so long as the cast that the Braves have right now is in place, we know that he's going to be the opening day starter. But Newcomb's probably going to be the 2. And I think for him to live up to those expectations the entire year, if he can be the pitcher that he was this season, the same guy that he was in the first 3 to 4 months last year, you're all good. I felt like he was on fumes in the final 2 months of the season. And it's the same jump in growth that we saw to Mike Foltynewicz the year before. I think Folty going from 17 to 18 and making that transition. is going to be what you're looking for out of Sean Newcomb going from 18 to 19. So with what you've seen to this point, what are your concerns? What are your thoughts on Sean Newcomb being your number 2?
You know, I think the big concern would be the fact that he kind of ran out of gas at the end of last season. Now, that being said, I think it was as much of a mental taxing on him as it was physical. I mean, I think physically his body was tired, but I think from a mental standpoint, he was exhausted. And let's be honest, after that near no-hitter against the Dodgers, he just wasn't the same guy. He was falling behind. He was throwing a lot of ball one. And obviously, in this day and age, you're going to get really hurt if you're not out there executing and throwing strike one. So definitely important for him to kind of figure things out, get back to the attacking mentality. I think using the changeup really helped him last year. I think he'll continue to try to build on that this season. But this is an important year not only for Nuke, but for the Braves as well. As you mentioned, he's likely your number 2 starter right now. So, you know, there's some uncertainty there for sure. But I kind of view him like you do as well, in a similar track to where Fulte was a year ago. We thought he had a chance to really go forward in 2018. He did that. I think that's where Newcomb is right now, and I'm excited to see. There's a ton of upside there. I think there's a ton of potential they haven't tapped into yet, and that's something Rick Kranitz is really going to work hard on here with him this spring.
All right, so those are some of the topics here. First week into Brave spring training. One final question. What's your favorite lunch spot here?
My favorite lunch spot is back at our spring training house when I go make my ham and cheese sandwich and I sit on the back porch and put my feet in the pool and cool down. It's hot, Ben. It's hot out here. It's good we're in the shade now.
Let's go. Talk to you guys later.